Hey, reviews.
Back up in here, yo.
How does it end, Captain Marvel?
She goes into space.
All right.
Flies away.
So this format, we're going to do it a little different. We are legit just going to talk about the end, starting off, and then we'll get into all the juicy details. So what did you say? She what?
She flies off into space.
That is literally how it ends. Captain Marvel flies off into space.
She just has a running start and just flies off into space.
And that's the end. There are 2 end credit scenes, so make sure you stay in your seat. Even though we're about to tell you about them. So the first spoiler end credit is
so the
Pager is in the Avenger base.
Yes.
Captain America.
You get Caps looking at the screen going, what's going on? What's all this? And then was it Black Widow's also there. And they're trying to figure out, and the pager stops, and then basically...
And Dr. Banner comes around the corner like, oh,
yeah,
did you reroute the power? And then Dr. Banner's like, yeah, we rerouted the power.
But War Machine was like, it just stopped, Joe.
He's like, reboot this thing. I'm like, rebooting a page?
They're like, but it still has power. So why did the signal just stop? And then Widow's like, hey, well, we'll just, keep doing it until whatever it is there. I don't know who it is. And she turns around.
We want to know who's on the other end of this thing.
She turns around and...
Where's Fury?
Yep.
Sure. Okay, and then you
gotta sit in the face like, where's Fury?
Then you gotta sit in your seats for a little while longer. And at the very, very end, we see Goose.
Yes.
Who is a Flurnix?
Yes,
Flurks?
It's the cat you see in the movie.
Yeah.
And they basically had this running joke that this cat was
a
like...
Flurkin. A Flurkin, that's what it's called. Flurkin.
This cat is dangerous. And then you're like, okay, they keep doing this joke. And then you finally find out that, yeah, this cat is legit dangerous.
And it's some type of weird, like, octopus monster type of thing. It almost reminded me of, now that we're saying this, of that one creature from the last Star Wars movie.
Oh, yeah.
It kind of had a little bit. Well, at least the tentacle part anyways.
Yeah.
Anyways, Goose the Flurkin ends up hairballing up the Tazarek of all things.
Because early in the movie, it swallows it.
Yep.
And so at the end of the movie, you basically see it throw it or cough it back up on Fury's desk.
Which stands to ask like a ton of questions on like how it got to where it got, and does that mean S.H.I.E.L.D. had it before? And there's a lot of questions.
Well, I mean, they had it, well, around Avengers they had it, right?
Just it kind of messes with continuity just a little bit because of where the Tazarek pops up and where it's at and all that good stuff. Because supposedly, oh man, I don't want to get too much on the Tazarek talk because it is kind of a focal point of the film, obviously, right? That's technically what gives Captain Marvel her powers, technically in a way.
Yes.
So what you and I were talking about, what I was theorizing is, are they going to try to say, this will be interesting, so peep this out. Are they going to try to say in Infinity Endgame that Captain Marvel is technically powered or shares powers with an Infinity Stone? Because the Infinity Stone is what was giving the core of this warp drive the power, and it seeps into Captain Marvel. Karen Danvers technically absorbs that
energy, but it didn't come directly from Tesseract. It's whatever the machine they were using.
It's whatever was powering it. Somehow it like
converting the energy.
It leaked out and it went into her. So why didn't it go into anyone else, or why it did not go into anyone else in the area of vicinity?
Well, I think because of the blast where it shot, because she shot it.
She shot it straight at her, and it kind of like
came right back
kind of
first.
Hit her,
and then the rest of the place exploded because she was the closest to it.
Yep. So I'm curious to see if in Infinity War Endgame.
But then the stone that she's powered by is the space stone. It's not the power, so it's the space one. But it's funny that she's in space.
So it's gonna be. That's why I said it. I think it's gonna be interesting. I'm very curious. Could that technically be an ability she has that she's not aware of?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think they'll probably use that though.
We don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Second part of the spoilers that I want to talk about. Jan Rog, underdeveloped villain. I mean, it would have been nice to get some more backstory on him. I mean, we all know who Ronan the Accuser is, thanks to Guardians.
Yes.
So we don't really need
And
more
he
on
wasn't
him.
really a villain. He was more of a cameo.
He was kind of like, hey, you need to take some people out.
Yeah.
We'll go do it. They're kind of like Executioner Squad, which is interesting because if you notice, they called Young Ra Commander.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, so does he rank higher in the Kree army?
Yeah.
Kind of seemed like he did, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's interesting though. Was he a commander 6 years before that, and that's why they took Carol Danvers in?
I don't know. I think he took her in because of all the energy she had.
Yeah, and he was like, oh, he's like, well,
We can use
like
that.
we don't have the core, but we have the next best thing, right?
Yeah.
So it was kind of interesting because that's what they plan on doing. Eventually, using her as their weapon, like she was going to be their secret weapon. Whenever she mastered her
Against the
powers,
Skrulls.
basically. Yeah, and anyone else, basically, right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. What else you want to talk about? Spoilers on this one?
My girl Monica's in the movie.
Oh yes, let's talk about Easter eggs, okay? So
Monica
Rambeau technically is the
Captain Marvel.
a Captain Marvel, right? Another version of Captain Marvel.
Well, she starts off Captain Marvel, and then she's like Pulsar and Photon, but Captain Marvel.
In the comics,
Yeah.
right?
Spectrum.
So, which is funny because Nick Fury makes a comment towards the end of the film talking about, oh, the only way you're going up in outer space is if you glow like her.
Yes, and then her power, she ends up becoming like pure energy, and that's kind of what her power
Which
is.
technically, in the future, which would be
Now.
present day when Infinity War comes out.
She'd be like 30.
Yeah, she technically has the same powers. So the question also could be, will we see a cameo by her? Will she appear?
I'd be cool with that.
That'd be awesome.
Yes.
I'm down for that. And then some other stuff too. Coulson, our man Coulson's alive in the films again, but he's a young Coulson.
Yes, young Coulson, because it's before he died in the movie version and still alive in the TV version, possibly dead. But now back alive in the TV version per the new trailers for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So basically Coulson can't die.
Somehow, some way, no one wants him to die.
Yeah. Like they killed him off and gave him a send off Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the next season he's going to come back.
And Skrulls are kind of good in this one. They're not.
They're misunderstood.
Right? They're thought to be terrorists, but technically refugees.
Because they won't bow down to the Kree.
And which we know that because the Kree army has been trying to subjugate a bunch of people, and then Ronan becomes kind of like a. I guess what's the best way to describe him in Guardians? Basically, like he kind of becomes a terrorist, basically, right? Like a dictator, right? So it's kind of interesting to see how that all kind of starts up, right? And then he rises to power because he's more of an extremist in that sense. So the other parts I thought were kind of interesting in this one as well, as far as Easter eggish, I would say was the the throwbacks to
the 90s.
yeah, well the 90s, and then also some references to the camp. So the place where now I'm not sure, I'd have to go back and verify this, but the Avengers film where they're interrogating Loki. Or where Loki shows up with when they're testing the Tesseract, it looks like in this film it's the same base
that they're testing.
It looks super similar. I'd have to go back and double check, but it totally does. Also the what's his name? He's on the black guy from
Desmond?
Huh?
Which one? Desmond?
Yes. So if you remember, he's also in Guardians of the Galaxy as well, right?
Yeah.
And he's Kree on that too.
Yes.
So technically,
History
he doesn't die up there, right, in this film, and that's kind of how he gets put in there. Like, I don't know if he's the same character. I'd have to look at the credits again, but that's kind of a little Easter egg-ish.
He'd still be on that ship, right? So he's a prisoner, or what happened? Because he didn't get off the ship.
Well, they don't show what happens to those guys.
Yeah. So they just let them go, which is weird.
I don't know.
Plot hole.
But there's other soldiers clearly, right? Because those other soldiers that they they have on board that they end up fighting. So I don't know how they get off or whatever, but there's a couple of different plot holes and twists in this film. I think that
it's hard the continuity to keep all of it together.
Yes.
With so many movies.
Yes.
And now you're doing a prequel, not a full prequel because it's still after Cap. So it's
before.
It's before, during Cap. So it's before.
Oh yeah, the first
cap happened. Is still
after.
The first cap is still the beginning, and then it's Captain Marvel, and then Cap ends.
And then you just reminded me, Avenger. So they do show the scene where he's typing up the Protector Initiative.
Yeah.
Initiative, because then he ends up putting Avenger Initiative, right?
Yeah.
So
because that's her flight nickname or call sign.
Yeah, so that's like her nickname. It's Carol Avenger Danvers, and then like he decides to use that in his initiative that he's writing up, and it's the Avenger Initiative. So that was pretty cool, because he starts talking to Coulson about how there's going to be other threats and yada yada yada. So that was kind of cool to see how that they use that as a tie-in.
And you see how Fury loses his eye.
Yes, which is crazy.
He gets scratched by a cat.
Flurkinix.
It's cat.
Flurkin. Sorry, Flurkin.
Flurkin. But it's in cat form at that point and just scratches him.
Yeah.
Like literally just scratches him.
Pretty crazy.
And then there's a whole rumor about what happens to his eye.
So that's why there's rumors on how he lost his eye. I think they mentioned that in the first Avenger film. I think.
Well, I know in the second Cap they talk about it too.
Yes.
Why he, Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Because Coulson's like, so we heard that you lost your eye being interrogated by the Kree and you wouldn't give him any information, so he took your eye. He's like, I won't confirm or deny that happens.
Much cooler way to lose your eye than having saying a cat scratched it out.
Yeah. You see the 3 little scratches like right in front of it.
Yeah, because I had always wondered. I'm like, why is it 3? Exactly 3, right? Yeah. I'm like, he fought someone or something. I was like, maybe it'll be some kind of call back to Baby Wolverine or something.
Yeah, like 3 scratches and it's the little cat.
Yeah. So okay, what else do you want to talk about for spoilers on that one? Because there's that, and then I want to say there's a couple more Easter eggs, but they're all they're references to things that have happened or things that are going to happen, right? So I know with Carol Danvers, there's kind of like callbacks to like Marvel, right? And then there's the joke about towards the end with her and Nick Fury about Marvel and Marvel, and there's 2 words, and then he goes Marvel, Marvelettes.
Yeah, like he says singing. I was like, oh, you know the song?
Oh, I do want to talk briefly about Stan Lee.
Yes, the Stan Lee tribute at the beginning.
Very beginning, that was cool. I like that a lot. Now, we were talking to someone before this film came out, and they were talking about how there's not going to be any CGI'd Stan Lee. Pretty sure he was CGI'd in this one. It doesn't really look like Stan Lee. If you compare this cameo to the rest of them, it doesn't really look like him.
But I think it's him because I think he filmed it already before.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to see it again for sure. But it does like.
It was very quick. It's basically him sitting on a bus reading Mallrats, which is the book. The thing he's reading Mallrats.
Okay.
And I was like, he's actually reading a scene from Mallrats while she walks up.
Huh.
And I was like, he's reading Mallrats?
Okay. And then you can tell it's his voice, but it doesn't really look like him.
I think they tried to like CGI him younger, I guess, or something
like
that.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Because he has like it's like kind of gray hair, but black still.
Yeah. I think it was because of the 90s. They were like, oh, it's in the 90s. So
he'd have to be a little bit younger.
They CGI'd him younger just because of what it would be.
So maybe that's why, but it doesn't. I think they fully CGI'd him. I don't think it's actually him, personally. But it could be. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. But if you compare his other scenes to that, you know, kind of same thing with Coulson though too. Coulson's CGI on his face looks a little off sometimes.
Well, even with Samuel, sometimes it's like it's kind of off when he starts doing certain stuff.
Yeah, because I would say his is probably mostly face makeup though.
Yeah.
So. It looks a little funny though, because they try to cover up like some lines on his face or whatever, what have you, and his hairpiece the whole time looks a little off too, because everyone's used to seeing him bald basically. So.
But the Stan Lee, also the opening. So in the opening of the credits or at the beginning of the Marvel thing, it's all Stan Lee.
It's all Stan Lee.
So basically, before it flaps into all different characters, they replaced all the characters.
It says the character name, but with each character name, it shows Stan Lee.
Yeah, it goes Stan Lee, and then it whips through, and like the Marvel logo comes.
In all his different cameos.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was really cool. I like that a lot. I like the fact where they put the thank you Stan in the very beginning, and then it kind of goes into it. So that was cool. I really like that.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about?
We pretty much went through. I mean, most of it without going through and totally rewatching the entire movie.
The entire film, right? So I think that was pretty good. Again, good film. It wasn't great, but it's good. It's really hard for them to put out, in my personal opinion, a great Marvel film at this point because they do have a couple for me that already have a pretty high standard already.
Yeah, especially when you're starting off with like an origin story.
Yeah,
and they've like a couple of really great origin stories that they've done already. So now it's like, is it Black Panther, Spider-Man: Homecoming, or are you talking about Incredible Hulk? I mean, like, where are you landing?
where are we at with this?
Where are we landing in this spectrum right here?
Like Ant-Man, I think is a good comparison. Like Ant-Man it's good.
Yeah.
It's not great. Ant-Man and the Wasp, also same thing in my opinion too. Good film,
Yeah,
just not
it's
great.
in the middle. It's not like it's pushing the meter here or there,
Yeah.
but you know, it's still a good movie.
Yep. And then what else would I compare this one to? Both Ant-Man films. I can't really compare it to anything else. It's nowhere
Maybe
near like the older
Second
Marvels.
Guardians, roughly.
Yeah. Because I like the first Guardians a little bit better than the second.
Yeah.
So I would say up there, kind of maybe about tied with second Guardian film. I know the second Guardian film for some people was like really good. Yeah, no wait, I'm gonna take that back. I think the second Guardians was better than this one, just because I got to see Quill use his like what's called celestial powers. So that kind of takes it a little bit for me. And I thought the CGI in that one was better. Overall.
There you go.
So, but right there on par. Like it's a good film. It's not great, but it's good. It's a fun watch.
Yes, it is.
Fun watch. So like, comment, subscribe. If you do actually want a full Easter egg video, we can do that for you.
Yes.
Leave a comment down below. Let us know. Like, share, comment, and subscribe.
Everybody. Now, the people over there on your Facebook, share it to them.
Immediately.
Just do it.
Immediately.
Do it.
And we're out. Wakanda forever.